Welcome, friends, to this quick and easy 30-day upside down challenge. That's not to say inverting is easy necessarily, but with a light heart and super innovative, efficient techniques, it will be easier. Today's class is going to be a quick overview of headstand, two variations of headstand, forearm balance, and handstand. As we move on, we'll indulge the poses a bit longer. Let's begin in down dog. So go ahead, find your down dog position. And in the pose, feel that the shoulders elongate as you push the floor away. Lift your heels high. Bend the right knee and press the left heel as close to the floor as you can. Inhale, heels high. Exhale, switch. Keep going like this. And see if you can slow down your mind enough to feel how each of these movements affects your body. So we want to start to more acutely tune in to how the subtle energies are significant, how it rebounds maybe along your spine, maybe even up to the shoulder blade. And if you can't feel things that specifically yet, don't worry about it. Just start by paying attention. See what you feel at the back of the knee, the back of the hip, in the lower back, maybe the calf. Link your breath. Inhale up, exhale, heel down with the movements. Close your eyes. See if that helps you become more acutely aware of what you're feeling in your body. The difference between balancing and not is millimeters, and so we want to be able to start to feel with greater specificity what's happening in our body. And then ground the heels as much as you can, find stillness. Relax the head and neck. Reach the hips higher up and back. Inhale, plank pose. In your plank pose, push the floor away from you with your hands and feel your upper back lift. Draw the shoulder blades or the shoulders away from the ears. Put a slight bend in your knees and tuck your tailbone toward your knees, and then press the legs to straight, keeping your pelvis in that position. If that was unclear, don't worry, it will become clear. Place your knees down. Reorient your palms so that they face up. Fingertips point to your knees. You can move the hands much closer to your knees if your wrists or shoulders, elbows are feeling tight. The elbows can be bent or straight. And then reorient your fingers to point to the sides of the room, palms face down. Rock side to side here. And then pause. Focus on your right hand. Find the base of your index finger, so the knuckle that connects your finger to the palm. Press that knuckle down. And then feel the webbing between the index finger and thumb press down. Then the base of the middle, ring, and pinky finger. Move the weight forward in your hand and press the fingertips down. See if you can feel the weight moving off of the base of the wrist and into the fingertips. And then turn the right palm up, fingertips point to the midline, and stretch. Switch sides. Left fingers point sideways. This time, see if you remember what I had said to ground. So the goal is to move the weight off of the base of the wrist and into the fingers, the palm. Now, on this hand, try grounding the thick knuckle that holds the rings in place. See what that does to your forearm. So you're grounding the knuckles that connect the fingers to the palm. You're grounding the thick knuckle, and you're grounding the tips of the fingers. And then turn the left palm up and have it face to the midline. Okay, so when we're inverting in handstand or tripod headstand, a lot of times that thick knuckle likes to come up, which can be helpful for dexterity. Okay, it can help with balance. But it also can predispose the base of the index finger, that thick knuckle, to lift up, and weight can dump into the base of the wrist. We always want the base of each finger to be grounded. So feel and make sure that the weight is moving forward in your hands. Come onto hands and knees and place your fingertips to point forward. Index fingers point straight ahead, so the hands may turn out a little more than you're used to. Okay? And then feel that the shoulder is stacked over your palm, not your wrist, because again, that leaves the wrist more vulnerable. Shoulder is over the palm, the base of each finger grounds, and then try grounding that thick knuckle and the fingertips. So grounding that thick knuckle is recommended when we're going through flows because it helps build more forearm support for the wrist, but at the same time, once we invert, if that thick knuckle comes up, that's just fine. Just keep the base of your index finger grounded and the base of each finger. All right, come back into your plank pose. We'll hold here, put a little bend in your knees, tuck the tailbone, and then straighten the knees. Good, we hold here for 3, 2, and then lay all the way down on your stomach. Nice. From here, move your hands back so that they're by the rib cage. Feel the work we just discussed. Lift your shoulders up, back, and down. Do that again, shoulders up, back, and down. And then push the floor away from you with your hands. Lift to up dog. See that the shoulders are stacked over the palms, the tops of the feet are down. Tilt the tops of your shoulders back. Exhale, down dog. Good. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Grab hold of your elbows and allow gravity to work on you. If the knees are bent, that's just fine. Think of them moving towards straighter. Place your fingertips down, step the left foot way back in a lunge position, and reach the right arm up. Feel the right hip is drawing back and the right knee hugs to the midline. At the same time, the outer left hip pulls forward. So you'll feel a scissoring between the inner thighs and the pelvic floor lifts. This is going to be helpful for the kicks to your inversions and when you're up there. Ground your back heel, angle the toes 45 degrees forward, warrior 1. Arms are straight, so we're creating a muscle memory of having the arms straight. And then like in the plank pose, feel your right sit bone reach to the right heel. So that's that lift of the front of the pelvis for what's called posterior back body pelvic tilt. Also feel the core below your rib cage hugs in. Inner thighs engage, so the heels hug toward each other. And then step the back foot forward, chair pose. In your chair pose, try to have your shoulder blades spread and lifted. Again, if that's a confusing direction for you, don't worry, I'm very repetitive. You'll have lots of opportunities to practice this. Forward fold. Step the right foot way back. Reach the left arm up. Hug the left heel back and the outer right hip forward. Feel the spine and the crown of the head reach forward. Feel that inner thigh engagement. Warrior 1, ground your back heel. Hug both heels together. Low belly lifts, front ribs in. Lengthen the torso skyward. See how much you can work this pose, but at the same time, ease up about 10%. We want to feel the feedback our body is giving us without pushing through too much. We want to become more sensitized to the feedback so the poses get easier. Our body feels lighter. Step the back foot forward. Chair pose. Front ribs right below the rib cage, hug in. And then forward fold. Sit all the way down. Let's do a little more hip stretching. Take the right ankle and cross it over the left thigh, just above the knee. Right hand comes between, left hand to the back of the left thigh. The arms pull the left leg in. The right hip presses away. So press the right knee away from you. We'll take 5 long, slow breaths. So the arms are pulling the legs toward you. The right hip reaches away. Intensify the stretch a little more. Last 2 breaths. Switch sides. The arms pull the legs toward you again. Left hip presses away. 5 slow breaths. Have your feet flexed as well. So when we're inverting, we want as much intentionality to be in every cell of the body as possible. Lift the head and chest, release the hands, interlace your fingers behind your head, hug the knees in tighter. Lift the chest not by cranking your head, keep some space between the chin and the chest, and extend the legs up. Lift the hips higher, not by taking the feet overhead, keep the feet stacked over the hips, just maybe even a millimeter or a centimeter the hips lift. And then lift the chest higher. And imagine you could balance on just one vertebra. Round your back so much. But again, the feet don't come overhead. They stay stacked over the hips. And then relax a bit. Exhale, lift. We'll do 10 like this. And relax. Lift. Just relax a little bit though. Don't collapse. 8. Exhale, lift. 6. Both ends maximally. 4. Don't crank your neck. 3. Front ribs, low belly. 2. Lift both ends, hold, reach the arms forward. You got this, you got this. Lift the hips higher. And then hug the knees back in, lay the head down. Extend the left leg forward to about hip height. Keep hugging the right knee in. Lift the head and chest up. Interlace your fingers behind your head. Feel the inner thigh of the left leg drop to the floor, so the toes are pointing straight ahead, not sideways. Lift the chest higher, and then on an exhale, pull the right knee in tighter. And then ease up a little bit. Exhale, 2. Exhale, 3. Exhale, lift as much as you can. 4. 5, hold. Left knee in, right leg forward, same rotation of the inner thigh of the right leg, so don't let the toes turn out. Keep them hugging in, left knee tighter, and then 5 pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold. Extend both legs forward. Press the spine below the belly button to the floor. If your back is arching, lift the legs higher. We hold 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. Let's get upside down. All right, for our Shirsasana A, you'll have your fingers interlaced, palms open. The head is in the same position upside down as it is right side up. So the top of the head is grounded and the fingers meet at the back of the head. The elbows are not in line with the head, but rather forward of the head. A triangular base is a much more stable base for inversions. You'll have your fingers interlaced. Tuck the chin into the chest and place the top of your head down. When you lift the knees, the neck should come into a position that's similar to how it is when you're right side up. If your hamstrings are tight, your feet are likely to be further away. You may want to try some hamstring stretching classes under the hip section on the app. All right, you walk your feet in as close as you can. One leg lifts. We swing down and up, knee to chest. Most important thing that many people, when they're first learning, aren't aware of for neck safety is that the shoulders must lift. One way to keep the shoulders from collapsing is by pressing the elbows down. The other thing to be mindful of is as soon as the feet walk in, the shoulders don't round. For our neck safety, it's very important you keep the shoulders moving away from the ears. All right, go ahead, give it another try. Walking the feet in, one leg lifts, swing down and up. Once the heel hits the wall, you'll use the knee that's closer to the chest, pulling into the chest to help you lift the leg off the wall. Remember, we're not thrusting our hips forward. Instead, our hips move back and our leg moves forward. Okay, so we're avoiding the banana back shape by pulling one knee in and then moving the butt back and the leg forward to get the foot off the wall. Remember, less is more when we're upside down. The difference between balance and not is millimeters. So move slowly. Okay. We'll move on to tripod headstand. And for this, and remember this is just the first overview class, so you're just getting a little taster of everything that's to come. All right, between the head and the hands, we make a triangular shape. Okay, tuck the chin, and if you're thinking now, oh, Marysia, I wasn't able to kick up, don't worry, I'm going to offer you a solution. Got you. All right, head, hands, triangle shape. Again, not straight line, hands back. Tuck the chin into the chest, shoulders lift. From here, same with the Shirsasana A. If you were unable to kick up, you can walk the feet up and then just start to flirt with lifting one leg up and pulling a knee into the chest. For the tripod, we also have another way of getting up. All right, and feel free to pause and rewind this class as many times as you need. I'm just trying to get everything in an efficient amount of time, but you're welcome to revisit stuff. Shoulders lift, feet walk in. Knee to tricep, knee to tricep. From here, low belly strength to lift up, or you can practice walking the feet up the wall. Shoulders lift, feet up, one leg up, pull the knee into the chest. From here, we don't have the hips opening up. Remember what we practice in the core work? Rolling the inner thigh back. Scissoring the inner thighs like we did in the crescent lunge. Shoulders are lifted. Okay, for my wild and crazy friends, if that's all going really well for you, you can practice going from the Shirsasana A here, and you can have the legs split if you like. This tends to be the easiest position for balance. Lean to one side, unlace the fingers. Lean to the other side, unlace the fingers. Lean to the first side, hand. Lean to the other side, hand. Shoulders are lifting the whole time. All right? So give one of those variations of headstand another try. Remember, the wall is there for you. Shoulders are lifted. And of course, if you want more, like a full class just on any of those poses, go ahead, check the inversions playlist. I got them all there for you. Next up, forearm balance. For this one, we're going to, let's actually stretch out the shoulders first. Grab one of your blocks, and I just want to demonstrate something. Hug the elbows in and try to bring the elbows in line with your torso without going into a back bend and without taking the elbows wide. So see if you can make one line from your elbows to your hips. For most people, if we keep the elbows shoulder width apart and we keep the upper abs hugging in, the elbows will be forward. As soon as the arms go back, the abs come forward or the elbows go wide. So we need to stretch out the shoulders a bit more. Take your blocks, shoulder width apart. This is one of my favorite stretches. And take your elbows, the backs of them, so not the inner elbow, but the backs of the elbows onto the blocks. Hands come together. And then from here, your knees back up so that they stack underneath your hips and the chest drops to the floor. Okay, if your forehead is on the floor, lift it 1 millimeter up and sink your chest further. If you're way up, no problem. You came to the right place. Okay? So folks who are way up, just continue to think of those shoulders softening down, creating more space in the upper back. For my friends whose forehead is down, lift it 1 millimeter and continue to sink. 5 slow breaths. Everybody lift up. Okay, so that helps with the straight line between the elbows and the head. For my friends who have tighter shoulders, you're likely to prefer to do forearm balance with the hands, fingers interlaced together. For those of you who it was easier to bring your chest down, you can have your hands shoulder width apart. Eventually, we like shoulder width apart. When you bring the elbows down, try to bring them a little bit closer than shoulder width, and then the skin will stretch as they roll out. Starting with the elbows straight down and then allowing the elbows to collapse, your forehead is going to hit the floor. So we're trying to keep the shoulder now position opposite of headstand, in that in headstand, we have the shoulders lifting away from the ears. In forearm balance, we're pushing out of the shoulders. Because in headstand, we're balancing on our neck, we need the neck long. Because in forearm balance and handstand, all of our weight is on our shoulders, we don't want compression in that joint. We want a sense of liftedness. So in forearm balance and handstand, the tricep, this muscle here, is wrapping forward, and the shoulder blade is lifting. So there's a spreading between the shoulder blades as the elbows go forward, and a lifting. So when we're setting up, hands down, yogi's choice, fingers interlaced or not, elbows grounded, lift the knees up, walk the feet in, one leg lifts, we swing down and up. Where do you look? My friends with tighter shoulders, you may want to look between your forearms. Some of you may choose to look between the wrists or even the thumb knuckle. But you want to be sure to pick one spot on the floor and do not move your eyes. One spot as you're preparing, same spot as you're kicking, same spot as you're upside down. Stable gaze, stable body. All right, so elbows down, eyes pick their focus. Next layer, upper abs. Hug those muscles in. Go ahead and give yourself another try. If you find when you're upside down the forehead crashes, whoop, I got a solution for you, don't worry. But note that that happens either because the shoulders are tight or weak. We want to feel the opposite of headstand. Press the elbows down to lift up. So if your head crash down, go ahead, take one hand to the elbow and press out. If you're doing well, continue on your own. So we want to feel that pressing out, and at the same time, the arm moves back. You may need to do a shoulder stretching class between now and the next class. If you found your shoulders are really tight, go ahead to the shoulder opening search and find a nice shoulder opening class for yourself. All right, cheat. So those of you who are having the head fall down, I got you. You'll hold the block, and you're going to place the block at the back of the head. Your head will not touch the floor. It's just going to be hard for you to see because my forearms are in the way. But you'll have the head at the back, the block at the back of the head, and the head will be lifted off the floor. With this third point of contact, it makes balance easier, and also it helps get the line between the elbows and the hips through that shoulders straighter. You'll hold the block, pull it toward your head. One leg lifts, swing down and up, whoop, and there we are. And again, we're not thrusting the hips forward to come off the wall. For this pose, I recommend drawing one knee into the chest, move your butt back, lift your tailbone up, front ribs in, and then see about lifting up. All right, so again, we're avoiding coming off the wall by compressing the low back. The reason why balancing may be easier when you're in that position is because you're not using your core to lift you. You're actually just compressing the vertebral discs. So the vertebrae are meant to be stacked like so. When you go into that shape, you push them down on each other, and that can be hurtful. So we want to feel there's a sense of liftedness there through core engagement. All right? So you can use the block or not, fingers interlaced, kick up. From here, maybe one foot lifts. You can lift the other foot up, butt back, tailbone up. From here, try to find your balance. Okay, stable gaze, stable body. And then lastly, we have our handstands. All right, for handstand and forearm balance, what we want to be aware of, and don't worry if you couldn't kick up, I got you. All right, when we're kicking, we don't want to throw our back out. So rather than lifting the leg high to kick up, roll the outer hip down and pull the thigh bone into its socket. Feel the front ribs are hugging back. Eyes on one spot on the floor, either between the index fingers, between the thumbs, or between the wrists. From here, we swing down and up. The heel can hit the wall, and then from here, you can choose. Bend the knee, right? Instead of being in this boat or this banana back position, as they say, we move the butt back, we reach the tailbone up, and we draw the front ribs in. Okay, your other option is to have the knee into chest, pull it in, and see about balance like that. Again, stable gaze, stable body. For both handstand and forearm balance, you start by pulling the front ribs in. We don't want to be kicking, leading with the toes, throwing our back out. Front ribs in, outer hip rolls down, thigh in. So that's the work that we did in our crescent pose, hugging those inner thighs in. All right, for forearm balance and handstand, you're also welcome to walk the feet up the wall and lift one leg like so, or keep both feet up at the wall if you're freaking out already. All right, one foot can come down, the other lifts. Maybe you move the whole torso more to the center of the room. Maybe the knee comes in. All right, lots to think about. Go ahead, play with one of those inversions. One more shot. Don't worry, we'll flush them all out a lot more detailed throughout these next 30 days. So go ahead, enjoy just one more. Play, see what your instincts take you. Roll out your wrists when you're done. Okay, place the backs of the hands together. Drop the elbows down and stretch here. And then lay down on your back. A nice counter stretch is what I call butt down bridge pose. Heels by the butt, about hip width apart. Press the heels down and lift the hips up. Interlace your fingers together and wiggle your shoulder blades closer together. So opposite of the spreading of the shoulder blades we've been doing. Pop the chest higher up and then sit your butt down on your forearms. Relax the hips, move the chin away from the chest, and press your forearms down more. For another 3, 2, lift your hips up, release your hands, hug the knees in and drop them to the right, gaze to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, second side twist. Inhale, back to center. Give your knees an extra hug. And exhale, Shavasana. Palms face up. Legs relaxed, feet flopped open. Take a larger inhale through your nose, out your mouth. One of the things that we get to see through the yoga practice and inversions is the more closely we pay attention, the more possibilities we become open to. So at first, headstand is just standing on our head. And then we become aware of our shoulders and our neck and our core and our elbows and our wrists and our hands and all the little things that can come into play to better serve the pose and to serve our healing process, our growing process. They're one and the same. And so I encourage you, when you step off the mat and go into your life, whenever you start to meet any kind of opposition, to instead of continue to fight against, take a pause. See if you can see more deeply into the situation and commit to the notion that what you've been given in yoga, that's your body, your lifestyle, whatever you've been doing with your life up until now. Your body is perfectly aligned with your goals. Off the mat, in work, with family, whatever comes up, you can align that with your goal of where you'd like to be. It's simply a matter of slowing down enough, plugging in more closely, becoming a little creative and adjusting where necessary, and then choosing to commit over and over and again to putting the pieces of the puzzle together in a way that is sustainable, compassionate, and life-affirming. Take a larger inhale through your nose and exhale out your mouth. Namaste.